I listened to the secret letters of the monk who sold his Ferrari. Kalin, let's discuss it. Ancient wisdom tells us that physical objects can unlock profound life lessons, but what's fascinating is how 9 simple talismans might hold the key to living an extraordinary life.
Pappy, that's such an intriguing concept. Are you at that level of thought? What makes these particular talismans so special?
Well, each one represents a fundamental principle for living, starting with this fascinating brass coin that has the sun on one side and the moon on the other. It's about authenticity. And here's what's remarkable: studies show that people who live authentically report 40% higher levels of life satisfaction.
Hmm, that's a compelling statistic. How does that connect to the second talisman?
You know what's interesting? The second talisman is this grinning metal skull, and it teaches us about facing fears. Research from the American Psychological Association shows that exposure therapy, essentially facing our fears, has an 85% success rate in overcoming anxiety.
That's right, Kalin. Why these symbols are so powerful, they make abstract concepts tangible. What about the golden crane?
The golden crane represents kindness, and studies from Harvard Business School show that acts of kindness create a ripple effect that can influence up to 125 people through 3 degrees of separation. It's like, well, kindness is contagious.
So, if we're talking about measurable impact, how does the fourth talisman, the pyramid, fit into this?
The pyramid represents small daily progress, and this connects to the concept of compound effect, just like how a 1% improvement each day leads to a 37 times improvement over a year. It's why the most successful people focus on systems rather than goals.
That reminds me of the research on habit formation. How does the paintbrush talisman build on this idea?
Well, the paintbrush represents doing your best work, and studies show that people who view their work as a calling rather than just a job are 3 times more likely to report high life satisfaction. It's about bringing artistry to everything we do. Uh,
And these carved hands holding each other, the sixth talisman, what's the science behind choosing our influences?
Um, this is fascinating. Research shows we're the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with, not just in terms of habits, but even in terms of income and health outcomes. The network effect study from MIT demonstrated that our probability of success increases by 45% when high performers surround us.
These findings challenge our assumptions about personal growth, don't they?
Right? And the seventh talisman, the cylindrical shell, reinforces this by reminding us that life's simplest pleasures are often the greatest joys. Studies in positive psychology show that experiences bring more lasting happiness than material possessions, with a satisfaction rate that's 300% higher.
You know what I find most compelling? How these ancient symbols align with modern research.
That's particularly evident with the eighth talisman, the silver heart. Recent neuroscience research shows that acts of love and compassion activate the same reward centers in our brain as winning money. And the final talisman, the Taj Mahal miniature, speaks to standing for something bigger than yourself.
How does that final principle translate into measurable impact?
Well, studies show that people who have a strong sense of purpose live up to 7 years longer than those who don't. It's like these talismans aren't just philosophical concepts, they're practical tools for well being that science is now validating.
Looking at all this research, what's the most surprising connection you found?
You know what's unexpected? how these principles create a feedback loop. When we live authentically, first talisman, we're 60% more likely to take positive risks. Second talisman, which leads to increased kindness. Third talisman, and so on. It's like each principle amplifies the others.
Pappy, that's such a powerful insight for practical application.
And Kalin, here's what it all comes down to. These aren't just ancient symbols or modern research findings. They're a blueprint for living that bridges traditional wisdom with contemporary science, showing us that the path to an extraordinary life hasn't changed. We've just gotten better at measuring why it works.